Hello.
All right, Andy, ready to get started?
Yes, let's go ahead and do this. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's training session of I have PBIS Rewards. Now what? And today's session is going to really focus on how you can redeem within the PBIS rewards system. So we want to welcome everyone for being here today. And we see we have people from Georgia, all around who are visiting with us during today's training. So if you do want to go ahead and put where you're from in the chat, feel free to do that. We have a very intimate group today, which is great because that means you have plenty of time to ask any questions that you want to today and be able to see anything you want in the system. So let's go ahead and get started. Many of you, we've seen your names before. You look very familiar to us, those of you that have your cameras on, and also some of your names look very familiar to us. So hello again if we've already met, but if this is your first time meeting us, we'd love to introduce ourselves. My name is India Williams, and I'm one of the professional development educators here with PBIS Rewards. Been in education a long time, 25 plus years. Don't y'all be trying to figure out how old I am. But most of my background was with the younger students, primary grades of kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth. I also loved being a home ec teacher for K through 8. And I also really enjoyed being a diversity director for a school here in Indiana. But I have to say, working for PBIS Rewards, it's probably one of my absolute favorite things in the world, not just career wise, but also just relationship wise, and mainly because of the partner that I have the pleasure of working with, which is Anna Michaels.
Hi, everybody. We're so glad that you're here. I am Anna Michaels, and Andy and I work together at PBIS Rewards, obviously, and I'm located in Fort Worth, Texas. So we get to connect right now only through Zoom chats, where before we would meet up on the road. So I have very similar experience to India. I spent 20 years in education. I worked though with sixth graders. I love my sixth grade kiddos as a teacher, and then I became an administrator on the campus that I was a teacher at. That was fifth and sixth grade only, and then that campus closed actually, and I helped to open a campus as administrator for kinder through fourth grade. So, but PBIS is really my heart, and I'm just so happy that y'all are here today, and we can help you with how to redeem those points and really make them meaningful. If you missed our first part of this series, which is I have PBIS rewards, now what? And we focused on rewarding. We're going to give you a link today, and it'll have all those resources as well and that recorded session. So if you need that, we'll have that for you. And then we'll do another one after this that'll just be for administrators. Once you get the system, what are some of the steps that you could take as an administrator to really help you in that process? So those are coming. That one is going to be available, I think, India, I want to say February 10th or 11th. I feel like that date is ringing a bell in there
You know
someplace.
what?
I think, and
We
we have it
do.
on our slideshow, I think.
Yes, we sure do. And we definitely have the link for people to be able to check it out and see
Yes.
the training. But yes, we have the rewarding session is going to be Monday, February 1st at it would be 11 Eastern time. And then we have this session again on redeeming. That will be the next day, February 2nd. It would be 2 o'clock Eastern time.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. All right,
Yes.
let's get going.
Let's go, y'all. All right. Well, if you've ever had a training with us, you know how important we feel it is to make sure that we just set expectations out there for today's training. And with you all being the PBIS, just experts you are, you know how important that is in general. So all we're going to ask is that all of us, Anna and myself included, try our best to be respectful today, be responsible, and be safe. We have here on the screen some of the ways that we can do that. And we thank you in advance for all of those expectations that you follow today. One we really, really want to focus on, though, is please do not be afraid to ask questions. And you can do that throughout today's training And the easiest way to do that is to utilize the chat box. So if you have a question, you have a concern, you have a wondering, just go ahead and put it into the chat box. Sometimes we call it the parking lot. So feel free to park any of your questions, concerns, or wonderings into that chat box throughout the session. You don't have to wait to the end, and we will definitely answer them to the best of our abilities as soon as we can. We also want to just take a look at today's agenda so you kind of have an idea of what to expect. So, we're talking about redeeming, y'all. So, we're going to look at what are some of the best practices when it comes to redeeming. Then, we're going to get right into the system and talk about how you can use PBIS rewards to redeem the points that your students are earning. And you can utilize the store, events, and raffles. And so, we're just going to show you how that redeeming works, not just in our web portal, but also in the app. And then Anna's going to take us for a live session into the web portal where we can show you some things we think that you would really find helpful. But if you want, you can also request that we show you specific things in the system live as well. And then finally, we're going to have a wrap up where we're going to kind of share some of our tips and tricks that we think will really be helpful to you. We're also going to talk about some other professional development opportunities that are coming up. And then we want to give you a personal invitation to our Facebook user group if you're not already a member.
Well, we are really going to start our information about redeeming things with students with this quote, really thinking about student rewards and incentives that are great ways to make them feel remembered, included, and appreciated. Letting them know that their work, no matter how big or small, contributes to a larger picture. So we're really going to focus on that today as we are working on redeeming these points and making them meaningful for students, and kind of debunking some of the myths that come with redeeming points as well. Some of those things also come with PBIS, and taking care of sorting out those truths versus myths. So we are going to start here with our best practices with redeeming. And so with that, we're really going to talk about just the motivating systems in PBIS in general. So of course, it really starts with building positive relationships with students. And those could be things like greeting your students at the door, showing genuine interest in them, offering help, having those small conversations with students, really making a solid foundation of relationships and positivity with your students. Our next one is to provide that positive feedback. And we have talked about that. If you've attended any of our other trainings, we call that behavior specific praise. And so with that, we're really giving students that very specific feedback about thank you so much for being respectful by coming back from the bathroom quickly. I feel so proud when you're here to hear all the instruction and you're not wasting time in the bathroom. So I'm being very specific with that. The next part of that is really providing that high ratio of positive interactions. And so we really try to strive for 5 positive interactions to every 1 negative interaction. And sometimes it's really hard, but that is such a great model to use, not only with our students, but also our interactions with our other staff members and our other relationships that we have. It really is a great ratio to use. And sometimes thinking about that emotional bank account that we have with others, really making those very frequent deposits before we have to sometimes make a withdrawal when we have that those other conversations. And then finally, what we're really going to focus on today are those intermittent celebrations. So with that, we in the beginning, when you are starting with PBIS, especially at the beginning of the year, and sometimes when we come back from vacations, we really want to do that early and often and really provide those celebrations for our students. And we really want to make them meaningful. If our students are high needs students, we want to make sure that those are regular. And as the needs of our students decrease over time, then we can kind of back off some of those regularity of celebrations. So we can make them occasional, and then Eventually, we can do some of those things as needed, but we definitely want to keep those motivations there.
All right. And we also really want to focus today on what are three top redeeming principles to keep in mind. And the first one is incentives are not bribery. Okay. I don't know if you've heard it before. People like, I'm not going to bribe them to be good in class. They're supposed to do that anyway. I'm not going to bribe them to, finish their homework. They're supposed to do that anyway. Well, we just want you to remember that incentives are not bribery, particularly when we look at the definition of what bribery is. And I'm going to read it. The definition of bribe, it is the inducement, usually monetary, but the inducement to do something illegal, unethical, or immoral. So a bribe is basically an incentive to do something wrong. And that is not what we're doing with these incentives. In fact, we are truly motivating them. We are encouraging them through these incentives. So they are not for illegal things, for unethical things, for immoral things. And so please do not, think in your mind that incentives are bribery. They are the exact opposite. They are motivators to help students do positive and wonderful things, not just at school, but also outside of the school or organization. The other thing that you really want to keep in mind about redeeming is that data-driven decisions can really help you choose those effective incentives and see which ones are effective and which ones are not. In fact, in the PBIS Rewards system, you can see reports that show which expectations that most of the students are getting their points for. And then you can really look at, making decisions based upon that. The areas that are lacking, you might want to reinforce with lessons and points to challenge within the school. And then you may also want to have some type of like maybe blitz where you really focus on those things. So you can actually generate reports that can help you see, what expectations are the students really, really doing a lot, doing well in. And if you notice, it may be safety, it's not one area where you see a lot of points being awarded. You can then say, okay, let's have some incentives toward, really having some big incentives toward those safety ones so we can really encourage the students to demonstrate more safety. So they can really help you make those data-driven decisions. And we also want to remind you that, even with that bribery piece, I kind of want to go back to that briefly. Every incentive doesn't have to be a tangible item. It doesn't have to be food. It doesn't have to be a little toy or trinket. It could just be quality time with a teacher that they respect. It could be extra time with a device, or extra time with a friend, or extra outside recess time. So, just reminding ourselves that incentives are not bribery. Incentives don't have to be tangible, or things or food, and that also that we can have data-driven decisions based on what we see in the PBS reward system to really help us motivate the kids to do the right thing. And redeeming with incentives can really help us get to that. And then the third principle we want you all to think about is really getting the student's opinion through feedback. And we can do a lot of things to get feedback from the students. You can just use Post-it notes and just pass them out and say, hey, put on a Post-it note, incentives that motivate you. What's something that you would like? If you could spend your points on anything, what would you like to spend your points on? If you're doing face-to-face, put some Post-it notes out and I'm just write on the Post-it notes and collect them. You can also send surveys through email. And one particular easy form to use is Google Forms. And in fact, we have created for you all a student incentives Google form that you can actually click on the link, make a copy, and then make it specific to what your school would like to say to your students and just get their feedback. You want to have items in your store or privileges in your store that your kids want. You want to offer events that they want to come to. You want to have raffles that have items or experiences or privileges that the students are really interested in participating in. So we just want to make sure that you have an opportunity to, give them of a survey. And we don't want you to have to think too hard about it. We got one ready for you. So we will actually put in the chat a link to a form. Oh, Anna's on it. She's already put it there. Thank you, Anna. So you can click on that. You can make a copy of that particular student incentive survey, make it your own for your school or organization, and get some feedback from your students about what would they like to spend their points on. And I tell you, you'll start seeing them doing even better with meeting your expectations, because they'll want to earn more points so they can get those incentives that truly motivate, encourage, and interest them. All right, so are y'all ready to kind of look at how you can use PBIS rewards to redeem those points? Well, let's get right to it. Probably the most popular way that schools really like to use PBIS rewards for redeeming points is the store, okay? And so as you are really kind of looking at the store, you want to think about how you want to set it up. What do you want to put in it? How do you want to fund it? Who's going to run it? Who's it going to be open to? When is it going to be open to? And how are you going to organize it? And so those are things to be thinking about when you are setting up your store. And the great thing is PBIS Rewards makes it really easy to set up your store in a way that is easy to manage and easy for the students to get the incentives that they want and maybe even that they need. We have several options on the types of stores that you can set up within the system. You can set up a school-wide store, and you can also set up My Stores. And My Stores are basically each staff member in the system can have their own store. Okay, that's the My Store. So it's kind of like school store for everybody, teacher store for that particular staff member, and the kids that they have groups that they have in their groups. Now, teachers or the My Store can also be made public. And if you make your store public, that means any other teacher in the school can sell items out of your store. All right, so let's take a look at it on the app. So when you go to the app, you're going to go to the main menu by clicking on the hamburger stack, and then you're going to click on that button that says redeem. We're going to show you how you can use the school store. You open it up, you're going to click on that hamburger stack, and you're going to click on that button that says redeem. Then you're going to choose store. Now, when you go in, you'll see the items in your store. That's the My Store. And you'll see the items in the school store. Let's click on these virtual options and let's choose, okay, we're going to choose fancy pencils, I think. All right. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to decide is it going to be redeemed now, redeemed later. And now we're going to search for the student who's purchasing this item. So you can also change the quantity. So this student's like, I want 2 pencils. So we're typing in the student's name now in the search area, choosing Blake. And oops, Blake doesn't have enough money to get 2 pencils. So we're going to have to adjust the quantity down to 1. We're going to search for Blake again. And then we're going to press, once we find Blake, we're going to press that buy item button at the bottom. And it tells us, yep, it worked. And it also showed us the balance that Blake only has 3 points left. So now let's go in and purchase something from the school store. We're going to go in and choose high five. All right, so this student just wants 1. We're going to decide if they want to redeem it now, redeem it later. They want to redeem it later. Now this time we're going to scan Julian's badge by clicking the scan button and then scanning it. And now we click that buy button, and just that simple, Julian was able to buy that high five to redeem later. And we'll talk about what that means as far as redeeming later and redeeming now. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But see how easy it is to even, sell items from the app. You simply can go right in there, choose the item, and then have 2 ways to get your student. You can either search their name or you can scan their badge or QR code.
We really like that redeem later feature, especially for some things. If you have students that buy maybe a homework pass and they have the points right now, so when they buy it, it does pull the points out of what we call their points backpack. So they are purchasing it now, but the system will hold on to it, that homework pass, or for that student we just purchased, that high five, until you want to redeem it. And so we'll show you that queue where you can do that. But it is a really nice option, just like we said, for those things like a homework pass, or our students that say, I have the points right now, I want to buy it. before
Hmm.
they spend the points on something else. So that's a really great option.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Anna.
Sure thing.
So the other option, and we're seeing a whole lot of schools, especially those that are virtual, maybe they don't have the means to transport tangible items from their school store or my stores to students when they're in a distance learning setting. Or maybe they just don't have the budget right now to really set up a school store or for the teachers to set up their my stores. So what a lot of schools are doing right now is they are setting up a lot of events so that students can utilize those to be able to redeem their points. So let's talk a little bit about the types of events you can set up in PBIS Rewards. There are three types. You can set up redeeming events, qualifying events, and awarding events. So the redeem is where it's going to cost students their points from their balance to be able to participate. So let's say in order to go to the dance, you have to purchase, your way into the event by giving up 25 points from your balance. Okay, so that's a redeeming event. A qualifying event is where, let's say, anybody that's earned 25 points in the last grading period can be registered automatically for the dance. Okay, so this is one where if you've earned the amount of points that are requested, it's not going to be taken out of your balance. Okay, it's not going to cost the students anything. They just earned it because they earned that many points during whatever time frame you set up for the event. And then finally, an awarding event, these are great, especially if you're trying to get high participation in an event. With these types of events, if the students show up, or whoever you need to show up shows up, they earn points for participating. So let's say you're having a hard time getting parents to come to parent teacher conference. You can say if your, parent or guardian shows up to the parent teacher conference, you'll earn 25 points. So these are all the different types of events you can set up in PBIS Rewards. And when you're thinking about the types to set up, let us just tell you, uh, it's a plethora of ideas. And we don't want you to feel like you got to go to the drawing board all by yourself. We've already gone with some other people with some great ideas right here. Here are some elementary event ideas that you might find helpful, you might find entertaining and enjoyable for your students to participate in. Don't worry about having to write these down or, take a screenshot. We are recording today's session. You will receive the recording. You also receive some resources that go along with today's session. So don't worry about doing that. We're taking care of it for you. But if you definitely see one that you're like, ooh, I really want to take this back to my school or my organization, feel free to write that one down. But popcorn parties, dances, field trips, if that's possible, snow days, snow cone days, and things like that. Lots of different ideas that you could, decide to do as events that could be all school wide, or maybe just an event that you'd like to do for your class. And Anna, doesn't matter if it's secondary or elementary, what happens to be, we find out, the favorite event?
And pet parades, they are number one, and they don't cost a thing.
Don't cost a thing. Pet parades, for whatever reason, kids of all ages, students of all ages love the pet parade. And like Anna said, a lot of these event ideas don't cost a thing. It's just, an opportunity to show up and to be together. So, and the other one they love is Class DJ. They love whether you're virtual or you're actually in a brick and mortar setting to just let one of the kids pick, appropriate music as a class DJ and just let the kids just dance around and you kind of dance and bust a move with them as well. That seems to be another very popular event option. So let's take a look at what events look like on the app, okay? With the app, you can add students to school events, and you can also add students to your own personal events that you've set up. So that setting up of the events, though, needs to happen in the web portal. So you're going to go that hamburger stack. Once again, you're going to click on redeem, but this time you're going to click on events. You can see already that there's my events and school events. If you click on that I, it gives you more detailed information and a description of the event, okay? You can close that out.
Oh, I'm sorry, India. It started it over.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry about that.
And then, so you can, like we said, click on that I. See that I button? I'm glad you started over, Anna. So they can see that I button and they can see the description there. And so once you close that out, you can also then add students to that event. So you hit that person plus button. Two ways again, you can type in their name in the search area. We're going to choose Blake again. Blake's getting it together. And then Blake is now registered for that event. Okay. Now we can also register students for a school event as well. Click on that I if you want to see more of a description about it. Respect bingo, that sounds fun. Click that person plus, click the scan button, and then scan the badge. And Julian, then we hit that register button, and Julian is registered for the event. So the great thing is really easy to be able to, register your students for events just with that device that you usually have in your hand or pocket anyway when you use the app.
Last one.
Last one, y'all, and then we're going to get live into the web portal. But let's talk a little bit about Raffles. Now, I personally love Raffles for two reasons. Number one, I don't have to go and buy 25 earbuds, okay? I can just buy two high quality ones, and then the students can just enter a raffle, okay? And then, have a fair chance, an equitable chance of getting some high quality earbuds instead of me going to the Dollar Tree and buying 25 of them. So I like that. The other thing, so that's kind of would be great on, my raffles, and it wouldn't be hard on my pockets. The other thing I like about Raffles is that um, I really like that you can. I'm just saying, y'all. Be honest. You can get rid of some junk. Okay, maybe you have all types of stuff in your closet. You're like, I don't need this anymore. As far as little stuffed animals you never used, and notebooks, and that a student will be like, "This is the coolest notebook ever." I mean, whatever. There might be some things you need to get rid of in your work closet or home closet, and students will think it is the best, amazing gift ever. Put it in a raffle. And I tell you, it will become somebody, your junk will become somebody, your trash or whatever becomes somebody else's treasure, as they say. But I love raffles for that. And with our system, you can set up two ways that you want to do this. You can do a redeeming raffle, which means it's going to cost students points, it's going to come out of their balance. Or you can do a qualifying one, like we talked about before, where if they've earned a certain amount of points you set, then they automatically can be registered into that raffle, and it won't cost them any points that will be deducted from their balance. So let's take a look at raffles in the app as well. One thing you can do with the raffles button in the app, you can add students to school raffles. You can also add them to the My Raffles that you've set up personally. And now raffles, as far as running them, you cannot run them from the app. You have to run those from the web portal. And Anna will show you later when we get live into the web portal exactly how you do that. But let's look at raffles on the app. We're going to once again open up the staff app. We're going to navigate to that hamburger stack in the upper left. We're going to click on redeem again, and this time we're going to click on raffles, okay? So there you see my raffles. You see the school ones. You can click on that I for more information again. All right, and then we're going to click on the student plus. Two ways to get them in there. This time let's scan first. Hit the scan button, scan their badge. Now we can decide how many tickets does the student want to purchase. 3. Hit that save button. Boom, done. We can do the same thing with school raffles. Click that I for more information. Ooh, I like that, gift card. Okay, we can once again click the add person button. This time we're gonna put their name in the search bar, choose the right one, click the register button, boom. Blake's in there. So it's that easy to actually add students to school raffles and your own personal raffles with the app. And then the last thing we wanted to show you in the app as well is that redeem queue. So Anna was telling us earlier about how you could redeem now or redeem later for certain items. The student, as soon as they purchase it, it's coming out of their balance, okay? If it's one of those, like it's the store item and they're buying it or purchasing it, it's gonna come off their balance right then and there. but maybe they don't want to use it just yet or get that item just yet. Okay. Maybe, it could be that you always have Takis, because I don't know why they love Takis, but they love them. And you just don't happen to have them in the store that day, but they're like, I know I want Takis. I want to buy them now. So when you get the next shipment of Takis, I get the first bag off the truck. Fine. So what you could do is that redeem later. They could buy it then, but then they could actually redeem it later. We're going to show you how that looks in the queue on the app. So same thing, we go to that hamburger stack. We're going to click on redeem again. We're going to click on redeem queue this time. Okay. Once again, you can scan the student's name, type the student's name or scan it with the badge there. And you'll see all the different ones for Julian that need to be redeemed. They were, so we can just go in and we basically just hit the redeem button right next to that item. As soon as we do, it's shown that it's redeemed. Okay. Let's say she wants to also redeem what we do there, the sparkle pencil.
Mhm.
Okay. So redeemed one of the sparkle pencils. All you have to do is go in and hit the redeem button. So then it's finally shown that it has been used or taken. Okay. So just remember that ties back into when they're purchasing items from the My Store or from the school store when you choose redeem now or redeem later. If you did redeem later, you go to that redeem queue to redeem it whenever the student is ready to have the item or to use that homework pass that Anna was talking about. So Anna, I think it's time to get into the web portal and see some things live coming up pretty soon, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
So let me move that over here and share. There we go. So I am just going to take you through those things that we just talked about here in the web portal. The videos that we had in our PowerPoint, again, for the app, it works very similar, but some of the things you just have to set up in the web portal. So we're just going to start over here on stores. And on the left-hand side, all your tabs that are here, we're just going to go to that one first because like India said, most people, this is what they're going to use to redeem their points for students most often. And so here I have those two options of my school store and my store. Now they set up and they function very similar. So I'm just going to go into the school store because we have a few more items there to look at. So here in the school store, some schools like to set it up by grade level, especially if you're a school that maybe you're kinder through 8th grade. You might want to have some options that are just available for specific grades. You could sort the categories by that and label that. You can see I have a 3rd grade category, or you could just do the categories by what kind of items they are, just like the regular grocery store. So you can see I have experiences, I have fun stuff, and then I have super duper fun stuff. Now the number at the top left, this number is telling us how many points that item costs. So to manage my store, if I want to add items to it, I just go up to this pencil, and that is where I edit my store. So I can add items here all the way across at the very top right. This is where I can add a new item. And so maybe for my 3rd graders, they are really interested in some emoji erasers. And so I'm going to add that to my 3rd grade category. And maybe those are going to be 2 points a piece. And I'm going to inventory it. I have 50 of those. And I want it to send me a message when I get to 10 so that I can order more from Oriental Trading, let's say. And I'll just write emoji erasers in the description, and I'll click save. So that item has been added here. If I want to change this picture to an actual photo, I can click on that photo and change that. This is really great, especially for our littles, to be able to shop in the store by picture. You can just put that right up on your screen, whether you're face-to-face or virtual, and your students can point to those items that they want to purchase. So that's a really great option. We can manage our categories here as well if I want to change the names of those categories, or I want to add a new categories. We know hot snacks are always really popular. We could add a new one right here. And if I get a major group of items I want to add, I don't want to add them one by one. You can import those items here. There's an Excel document that you can easily fill out, and it will take all of those at one time. It's a really great option. So I am going to go back to the school store. And if I am selling things in my store that day, then it's really easy for me to do that right here from the school store page. And you can also do it from the groups tab, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But if I'm going to sell an emoji eraser, I will just select that and come down here to the checkout at the very bottom right. And I just have to tell the system what student is going to, let me think about the students that are in this school. I think my friend Blake is in here. So here is my friend Blake, and I'm just going to keep it redeem now and purchase those items, and that's going to be his last 2 points. So it's really easy to sell those items right here in the store. And like we said, the My Store works exactly the same way, except that's just going to be visible only to your students that you have assigned to you. The school store is going to be visible to all the teachers. We have some schools that turn on student purchasing for students, but they only turn it on certain days of the week. Maybe it's only visible on Fridays, so that students can purchase things only that day. And then they kind of do maybe an Amazon style delivery where they drop those things off for students at their teacher's door, or they do a drive-through for those students that are virtual to pick them up. All right, next I'm going to come down for events. India, were there any questions on store before I go to events? Yes.
Yes, I wanted to make sure we kind of addressed a few questions that had kind of popped
Sure.
up. One question we had was, is this being recorded? Absolutely, no worries. We will definitely be, if you registered for this training, you will have the recording emailed to you as well as the resource link. So no worries, do whatever you need to do. You'll get that. There was also another question about seeing past store items for the school. They were talking about how when they rolled over, they felt like that information was not saved in there, but it
Mm.
could be really helpful to have to be able to roll some of those items over. Is that an option? What's the best way to do that?
So we might have to get some information on that for you about the school store items. You're right, because once you get that set up, you really want to keep that, especially if you have some items that you know your students really enjoy. So let us find out some information about that for you and see if that's part of our new end of year process. And
Yes,
we'll get back to you on
I
that.
just
Okay.
contacted our support team to see if they had any suggestions of how, you could be able to save those items, just like you're able to save, some of the information on a CSV that you can then put back into the system yourself, such as, staff information, student information. I just sent them a message to see if there is an easy way for you to be able to just have that stuff to roll over each year. So as soon as we get an answer, we'll get it right to you.
Thank you. So I came down next to our events. And again, we have school events and we have my events. Now, as a staff member, if you do not have admin privileges in PBIS Rewards, you may not see this pencil with the school events and have that listed. You may only see my events. The account that I'm on has all those privileges for both. And like we said, they work exactly the same. So I'm going to go into school events and go to that, and I can see my past events that are here. This is one I have ready to go that I created already for today, but I can add a new event here with the green button, and it just takes you step by step through that process. So there are the 3 types of events that India talked about. I'm going to just do an example of a qualifying event because that's probably the most different. And so this one is based on the points that they earned. And so I am going to look at the points that they earned over the year. You can even drill down as far as a specific expectation. So if you're really working on respect, you can do an event that just focuses on respect points that they have earned over the grading period or over the year. So I'm going to do a pizza party. And here I'm going to put a pizza party for safety points. And so I'm going to put that they have to have at least, let's say, 5 safety points because my students are in a demo school. And I can limit the number of students, but I'm going to say that it's unlimited, and I'm going to pick the date, all my grades, and I'm going to click this arrow or check, excuse me, that says show in list. So that means that my other people in my school will be able to see that. So they can add students to this event. So I'm going to click on save. And the great thing about this part of PBIS Rewards is that you can have the system automatically go in and search all the students' points and add them to that event for you. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go back to events and go to that pizza party for today. Here's my pizza party. And I'm going to go to this one that says auto register. And when I click that, the system is going to go in and look for those students that had 5 safety points, and it's going to automatically add them here to my event. So here are my students that are now eligible to attend this event. So thankfully, I don't have to order a bunch of pizzas because I only have 4 kids. So I can easily remove somebody here too. But if I had a long list, you can see on this side, I can export this list. I could send it out in an email to my teachers and say, here's everybody going to the pizza party. It's just that simple and easy. So that is a great one with events. All right, any questions on events? India, I didn't see any, is that right?
No questions on events, but I did have an answer for Bill, and hopefully it'll be helpful to other people as well. Someone from our support staff said that there should be a store inventory report available in the end of the year reports.
Okay.
So just making sure that, you pull up that report in the end of the year reports, you can see what items you had. And that would be helpful in you being able to get those items back in for the next year. Um, and then we do have for Bill specifically, we have someone doing some research to make sure that they can find a way for you all to easily be able to roll that over with the CSV. So we'll get that information to you personally, Bill, as soon as possible.
All right, fantastic. So our last one is our raffles, and you can see on this page we have a couple of different raffles that are here already in the system, and they are going to be created here as the school raffles and my raffles. And I created a couple of school raffles, and you can see there's one my raffle that would just be available. And our school raffles, the pencil is going to do the same thing. I can create a new raffle here and go through those same steps, whether I want to do the redeem raffle, which is basically like India said, it's like an old school raffle where you put points in. If you have done those before, you probably did it with those circus tickets where you write your name on one and then you tear them apart and don't lose this one and I have to keep this one and all that business. Those days are gone. Please use the system to help you with this. It's so easy. And then the other one is the qualifying raffle. So that's what that, just like we talked about with those events. So I'm just going to do the old school redeem raffle that cost their tickets to go into. And so with that one, I'm just going to do, let's do a little bingo party with the principal. And we are going to get the date. And I know I have enough bingo cards for 25 kids. So those will be my winners. And I'm going to click save. And so we can add our students in here in the raffle page, but we can also do that in the groups page that I'll show you. And the reason that we have that in a groups page is because most teachers are going to use the groups page as their home base during the day. That's really where they're spending most of their time because that's where they're awarding points with students and they're having all the functions that are there. So Let me show you that option to add students, and it's so easy in groups. Let me go over there to show you. And I'm just going to pick one of my groups like the yearbook club. So for my students here, I'm going to come up to this menu. This is our redeem menu. And when I click on that, I'm going to come down to Raffles. The ones above the line are just for me, but below the line are for the school. And so there's my bingo party. I can click the I for information, or I can add students here. And let's say all my students are interested in going to the bingo party. I'm going to select everybody and add them. Oh, Blake can't go because he doesn't have any points. And then I'm going to enter their number, and maybe everybody wants to put their name in twice. And I'm going to click register. Oh, none for Blake. Oh, let me take Blake off. There we go. Okay. So now all my students are added to that raffle. And then the best part is running the raffle. So I'm going to go back to that Raffles tab. And I'm going to select that raffle, the bingo party for today. And with this one, oh, because I have 25 winners. Oh, goodness gracious. So let me change this really fast. I'm sorry. Let me edit that. I'm just going to change that. Maybe it'll work a little bit better. Sorry, everyone. Okay, it's my bingo party. All right, so now it's ready. And I always want to make sure this button is clicked here that says animated. And I'm going to click run raffle. And it's going to ask me to confirm it. And I'll say yes. So wonderful. It comes up with my third, second, and first place winners. And then you get the confetti, the drum roll, all of those things. So we really like being able to run that right here from the PBIS Rewards page.
And I love this, you all. Actually, that was my first time getting to see that new feature live. We actually had a release. Was that last week, Anna, that release? And
Friday.
so having them where the students are placed in order like that all at one time, that's a new kind of upgrade, so to speak, to when you run the raffle animated. And it just looks so good. We're going to have to definitely give some props to our development team. I love the look of that.
Yeah, that looks great.
Can we ask questions?
Yes, please.
Hey, so the raffles got me really interested. So if I understand this right, then so if I create a raffle, kids when they go into the store to purchase, they'll see that they can redeem their points for that opportunity. Is that correct?
If you turn that on in the settings, yes.
Okay, or because that's kind of what I'd like to do, because we seem to be more action driven. I feel like, sitting here as the building principal, I could see myself creating a raffle that says, walk the building with the principal,
Sure.
and they get to carry the radio, and they'll just think they're,
Yeah.
I could see kids eating that up. So they would, and again, it would be low fruit, not a lot of points, but, hey, I want a chance at that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, that's great. And Bill, you do that right here in the settings, the very bottom left one. I'm going to go to that just so you're aware of where it is. And then once you get here, there are lots of different settings, but I'm going to go to this one that says options. And so this really has lots of different ways, things you can turn on and off. But we're going to come over here to student purchases. So you can turn this on and off as often as you like. If you want to turn on, like we said, once a week, or you want to keep it on, but you can see here, you can decide what you want students to have access to. Let me zoom it in a little bit so you can see a little bit more. So you can see you can give them access to the store, raffle, and events. Or like we said, you can turn it off completely. So this is on that page over here under options.
Yeah, I see it. I've got two monitors. I got a 50-inch secondary monitor, so
good,
it's glaring at me, and I feel like I'm maximizing everyone's time, so I apologize.
No
So
problem.
I noticed my default is student purchases. It says don't allow student purchases.
It does default to that. You're exactly right.
Okay, does that mean then my teachers are working extra hard because they're taking care of all the purchases individually for each kid, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, because their kids are buying stuff. I'm okay.
Right. And so
But if I continue to allow it as don't allow, that just means when the kid sits down with the teacher, they'll see that potential raffle that can be purchased and they can buy that, correct?
Right. Yes. And you can also use that option though, where if they qualify for the raffle, you can automatically enter them into that and it won't involve teachers at all. You could do that. It does it in a split second and you could send that list out to teachers and say, here are the winners or here are the people that are eligible.
Okay.
And we're going to run the raffle, you know, at this time. I'm going to do it on a Zoom at this time. So
Okay, awesome.
That's a great option too.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, everybody.
No problem. All right, so we're going to hit our last couple of items really quickly. All right, and we just want to share with you quickly a couple of great links to be able to think about how do you redeem those points in a virtual environment. We know that is sometimes a big challenge. So this link we are going to provide over in the chat of how you can redeem points in lots of different ways. You can even sort it and look at specific grade levels. So this is a great resource. And our other one that we really love to share is this ultimate list of PBIS incentives. It's a massive list of different things that work for students all the way from pre-K students all the way through high school. And you can again sort it by what you want to view, whether that's things that are only free or things that just work for high school. Another great option. So we know that it's rough out there as far as working with students virtually, and the behaviors that we see virtually are different sometimes than the ones that we see when we're face to face. And some teachers have to juggle both. So what we did is we came up with a list of the most concerning virtual behaviors, and we aligned that with PBIS Rewards. How can you reward points that are in alignment with those behaviors to make a direct connection? And then also, how can you redeem points that will reinforce the positive behavior? So if you take, for example, students not doing their work, we have on this list how to give points out when their assignments are turned in, really encouraging that. And then redeeming those points, doing things like virtual field trips, or giving them access to those virtual learning tools that really encourage them. So making those connections. So this resource will also be in the link that we're providing. So we just want to give our last little tip. In that first page of PBIS Rewards, when you open it, there's a news and notes section. Please don't skip that, along with the show me how at the bottom. That will walk you through lots of processes. If you can't remember how to do something like, how do I run a raffle? Click show me how, and it will walk you through each of those steps, step by step. So it's a really great option. If you need help from us, please also don't hesitate to click the help button at the top right. We are here to help you and to make sure that you are successful with PBIS Rewards. So we're going to talk about our last couple of things. India, this is one of her favorites.
Definitely, this is one of my favorites. You know, we have a lot of schools that before they even roll out PBIS Rewards, they roll out workplace rewards for teachers first. Why? For buy-in. A lot of times they're like, teachers kind of are like, I don't know if I want to do that system. I don't know if I want to be given those points and redeeming those points. But if you want the teachers to kind of get a feel for what PBIS Rewards is for the students, you can actually do the same thing for them with Workplace Rewards for Teachers. The way you get to that is on the main menu in the web portal for the staff. You just click on that where it says Teacher Rewards, and there's that star, and it'll take you directly to the Workplace Rewards for Teachers site. On that site, you can rewards the teachers and staff members with points. They can use those points and redeem them in raffles, in a store you can set up with events that you could set up. You also have one other option you don't have for the students, which is auctions. You could actually do auctions with them. Another thing that's really great that you could do with your staff, they have a wall right there where you can post encouraging messages to one another. And we're actually going to be doing a training around that. Thank you, Anna, for putting that little sticky note there, February 15th, where you can learn more about workplace rewards for teachers. So please come and join us if you're available. We'd love to talk more in depth about how this is really becoming a game changer for a lot of schools.
So our support also, we don't want to forget about that. Our support is really fantastic. And so at the bottom of this slide, you can see is the link to our support page. So don't forget to click on that with those videos and our Explorer page that you can look at each of these individual planets. And they're kind of like individual topics. And you can also contact our amazing support. You can see our friend Jill there. If you click on the chat, with PBIS Rewards, they are happy to help. You can call us, you can send us an email. We are there to help you all the time. We do have lots of options coming up also with training opportunities. We have a expedition coming up that's a 3-day training, and it's virtual, and you get to work with Indy and I. We have Zoom sessions that kind of bookend the days, and then in the middle of the day there are some video modules that you will complete, and it really gives you a deep dive into PBIS Rewards and all the functions, and you really get to set your own pace as well. So that's a really great option. Plus, we're giving $25 off of that with the code. You can see PBIS Heart. And then we have our Voyage, which is just the modules, and it's a steal at $25. So those are great options coming up. And we have been talking a lot about that training calendar. So this is the link to that, and we will give you all these links, and most of our training sessions are free. We hope you're able to come back for a few of those and really help to strengthen your PBIS Rewards initiative at your school. Our PBIS Rewards break room is our user group. If you want to scan that with your phone, this is our way to keep connected with us. And we also take new ideas to this group. And really, if you have questions, this is a great way too for us to help while you're there. So please feel free to join us there on Facebook. Thanks, India. And then finally, this is our link. I'm going to put that over in the chat as well to all of the resources. So we just added the resources for this session. So you can scan this with your phone to have that link, or you can click it over there in the chat, and we'll be sending it in the email as well. And so all of those resources, including this PowerPoint, the recording, all the resources are going to be available for you there. We're really hustling. So we just want to say thank you so much. If you don't mind giving us a quick survey, we would love it just by scanning that last QR code. But we appreciate you being here. I'm sorry that we ran over just a little bit of time today, but we really enjoyed this group being here today. And if you have any questions, please stay on. We're happy to answer them. And we are here to help you be successful, like we said, with PBIS Rewards. And we're going to put our email address in the chat as well. So please reach out to Indy and I. That is a direct connection with us. And we are here to help you, whether that's getting things ready just for you or for your staff. We are here to make that a hit. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. And one other thing we want to say too is we have office hours coming up, okay? So if you want to go deeper, especially Bill, no, thank you. Bill, we would love to talk to you more. So if you have some time and you have some questions, would you join us on our office hours on this Friday? We have office hours to kind of set up We have, I think it's from, I want to say 10 to 12 Eastern time is
Yes.
the first session. And then the second session would be 2 to 4 o'clock Eastern time on Friday. But we're going to put the link in the chat box. You can click on that link and pick the time that you want to have some one-on-one time with us. We can talk you through some things, questions you might have, some training issues you might have, whatever you need. We can have some one-on-one time with you where we can go very in depth as long as we need to answer any questions you might have. So please sign up for those office hours. We'd love to talk more in depth with anybody that has more questions.
Well, that is it from us. But like we said, please stay on. If you want some additional help, we are definitely here to help.
And I'll put those office hours link, Anna, in the chat.
Wonderful. Thank you. You have been awesome over there, adding all those resources in the chat. So thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
If you don't have any more questions, we hope for you to have the best of luck, but please stay on and we can help with anything.
Hello, I do have a question, but for you all, I just joined your Facebook group as well to find out more. But I would